Good evening, good morning, good day, wherever. My name is Graham Gordon Thomas, and I like to observe phenomena as much as I can and then try to resolve down the cause, the what, the why, the how of whatever it is. My background is in masonry, but also I've written a book on evolution, which it doesn't matter. I'm not going to use this space to advertise my own work. But I've been studying evolution the whole of my life. I was brought up as Christian, so you can cross the two. You can have a Christian attitude and totally understand evolution. I want to talk about the knobs or the lumps, what we see on all the ancient architecture that were built by obviously advanced civilizations. I just put out a video the other day what explained how they use frequencies to somehow tune into the frequency within the molecules what make up the elements of the stones they used and fashioned into blocks to then shape the blocks. Because if you look at the ones on Cusco and some of the outside of the pyramids, you can see they've got a slight slump in them, which means they were plasticized at some time. They were created into a plastic or a moldable material. They were not concrete, as some people assume. They are the original stones that they have actually, whoever done this, or whoever has this application, this technology, can tune into the frequency, the resonance of the minerals in minerals, and then manipulate it how they want. So if you look at the big question, it's very interesting. The thing about that, as everyone perplexed, apart from how did they shape these stones? Well, they shaped them by manipulating them and plasticizing them. That to me is quite obvious, and I'd say that because I've worked with what you call moldable materials that you could get a similar effect on. If you vibrated them, you could actually vibrate them into the shapes what fit in the walls. In a way, if you had the previous one had gone hard, you could certainly vibrate the next one into a shape if you wanted to, just by adding a vibrator to it, which would then allow the molecules and the particles within the moldable, a lot of sort of mud if you like, to then move around and liquefy, or liquefaction it's called, then move into the shapes what we say at Cusco. And if you like, liquefaction of course is the action of when you get an earthquake and their buildings are placed on sand, and the sand sort of liquefies because it vibrates and the buildings sink. In a way, you could say it's liquefaction upon the blocks at Cusco that allows them to be the shape they are. But it's the knobs what's intrigued everyone. I thought, why? Yeah, well, it's quite obvious. When you look at it, they're not used for lifting. And anyone who's actually ever moved any big stones, and I've been involved in moving quite large stones, and quite a lot of them, I know you can't attach a rope to that. You can't attach a sling. You can't put a rope underneath those things. Those rocks, you've got to lower them down or put them in place as close as you possibly can, or slightly, you tap them in and you stick. And the clue is, the man who built the coral castle, it is said, had two sort of cones which he moved this castle around with. I Where he got those from, we'll never know. Maybe he's the very, very last of breed, or he found them and discovered them, or we don't know. He's into a secret. But these cones, if you think about it, because the knobs are a regular shape, they're not any particular shape, and they obviously haven't been carved out with a chisel or anything like that. There's no marks of being carved. So I'm only suggesting that when they place some sort of appliance, these like cone shapes, if you like, onto the blocks, and they put a sound in it. Sound isn't noise. Sound is the vibration itself that we hear. We hear as noise. The word sound means frequency and hertz that we pick up in our ears. That's what sound is. And so you get low frequency, high frequency, etc. And you can describe all those frequencies if we want to go into there. But if you get a certain frequency, well, that causes the rocks to slump, chances are, when you put your cones on, then some of the rock where the sound is the closest, and where the vibrations and frequencies are affecting the rock most, that slumps into the shape of the cones or roundabouts are placed on the rock. And that would give out, that's only an idea, but if you think about it, it has to make sense. Things have to be logical and practical. In the end, there is no mystery. It's a mystery in a way, but in the end, everything must get down to be logical and what is practical in how things are applied. Now, no one chiseled those lumps out, those knobs out. No one carved and said, oh, we've got to carve all that stone back from it and leave those knobs as a relief. No one would have wasted all that effort and time to chisel all about to do that. That doesn't make sense, to give us two things to lift it with, because you need other things, more knobs on the back to lift it. Otherwise, you can't just lift it with knobs on the front. You have to have something to tie it up, which obviously they did not. So they put some sort of cones on there that'll fed the vibrations or the frequency or sound, if you like, into the stones. The stones then were, and they were able to think about it, these things are highly advanced. These people then were able to tune it up or down according to, and then manipulate the stones until they were satisfied the stones were perfectly in place. And that's basically my estimation and summary of how they got those stones to be the shape they did, why they look like they've all slumped like wet bags of cement or wet bags of sand, and why they've got the lumps on them. Now, if anyone can come up with a better answer than that, please go ahead and explain to us. But that's the best, as a mason and someone who's worked with all the different type of concrete and materials you can imagine. I mean, so many times it's not funny. I've been and seen how stone and rocks and all the ores melt in our process for all the industry I worked in. It gives me a fair bit of insight to how things may be processed. And because aluminium itself is processed through voltage and frequency, ampage, not melted by, not processed from the bauxite with heat itself, that may be a clue also into the processing of minerals which are within rocks, and that may also give some sort of insight what was going up from a bunker. Anyway, my name's Graham Gordon Thomas, and I hope this somehow stirs a bit of interest in thinking about what all the lumps on the rock, on the stones are in Egypt, wherever they occur. Why?